First, who's here in the room? We have Officer Freeman, Gretchen, Walter, and myself. And electronically, we have here this evening, Mike Bacala, Judy Boyke, Jonathan Karp, Nancy White, Steve Procopio, Elko Johanns, Steve Roturno, Robert Germain, Chris Vaznicka, Kate Fiorello, Mike Marizio, and we're going to have a special guest this evening, a representative from Okra, and I'll let her introduce herself a little bit later. So the clerk will call the roll, please.
Counselor Boyke.
Here.
Counselor.
Here.
Counselor White.
Here.
Counselor DiPaolo.
Here.
Supervisor Meyer.
Here. Next, we'll have Officer Freeman lead us in the pledge.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda are abstracts. We're doing 38, 39, and 40 will be at a future meeting. Nancy White, would you like to do number 2?
I just have 38 with the date. Resolved, the Cicero Town Board approves abstract number 38 dated 9/9/2020. And 39 would be,
We're doing 39 and 40 the next meeting, yes.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
What you said.
Any discussion on the item?
No.
We need a second?
Second.
Second, Counselor Bicallo.
Okay. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke.
Yes.
Counselor Karp.
Aye.
Counselor White.
Yes.
Counselor DiPaolo.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Item is adopted. Nancy, budget modifications?
Budget modifications. Resolved, the budget modifications are approved as presented.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke.
Yes.
Counselor Karp.
Yes.
Counselor White.
Yes.
Counselor DiPaolo.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Item is adopted. Okay, we have a special guest this evening from Okra. It's the, I'm not sure what your official title is. I think it's Executive Director. You've been with Okra for a number of years in a couple different positions, if I remember correctly. So if you give us, introduce yourself and tell us some of the news about Okra and what we have to look forward to with trash and recyclables this year.
Excellent. So yeah, my name is Sarah Glantz. I'm the executive director of Okra. I've been at the helm here for about 4 years. I did serve as a board member in the early 2000s until about from 2004 to 2011. So there is a little bit of a gap in my history, but I know most of the things that have happened in Okra in the last 2 decades. So I'm here to share with you, as everybody else is facing some budget woes, we are facing some really significant budget woes. You likely are not following the Chinese impact on the recycling markets as closely as I am, but they have been really profound and our costs have skyrocketed over the past couple of years. I don't know if folks saw our newsletter, but we have a really great graph in there that shows you that for about 15 years, subsidizing curbside recycling costs was about 0% of our budget. It was on the order of $300,000. Now we're looking at a cost of $2.6 million heading into 2021. And this is unsustainable. We held this for the last 3 years as the costs continued to rise. It was first 5% of our budget in 2018, then it became 12% of our budget in 2019, and now we're at 16.2% in 2020. And next year it will be higher, and it's unsustainable. Most other communities don't have a $0 tip fee for their curbside recyclables. Our board wants to continue to support curbside recyclables, but we want to split it with folks. So we're going to, the current proposal, just so you know, we pass our budget on the second Wednesday of October. Next Tuesday, the formal proposal is expected to be reported out of our administration committee. And we are looking to create a recycling tip fee, which would be $34 per ton. This for Cicero would have a budgetary impact, we're estimating, based on your population of over 30,000 people. And we have a bunch of assumptions. We sent out a memo to, I don't know who it got to last week, but it should have gone to your town supervisor. And we're anticipating a cost to Cicero just from the recycling to be $94,000 for fiscal year 2021. We are also, we did not increase the tip fee in 2020. We relied upon our reserves. COVID and a variety of other factors have also taxed our reserves. And we will, right now the proposal is to increase the tip fee $5, but to provide certainty over 2021 and 2022. So we're looking to do a 2-year contract. So there would be no increase in 2022. You would have known costs. We figured the most valuable thing we could give you right now is a little bit of certainty, since there isn't much, but we will see an increase in both the MSW tip fee, which is your municipal solid waste that is tipped from household garbage, and then you'll see a tip fee for recycling. And I'm happy to go into further detail. You guys have a really dense agenda, but I wanted to get right down to the brass tacks of what's coming down the pike and what is the current likely proposal that the board will likely advance in October. So with that, I'll leave it open to questions.
Questions from the board?
Yes, Sarah, my name is Judy Boyke. When you said the 94,000, that is obviously spread over the total residents for their units. Is that right?
Yes. So what we did, I want to make sure you understand this is, there's a lot of assumptions and we think they're pretty conservative assumptions, meaning we're erring on the side of this being a little higher. So we took the assumption that there's 30,715 people in Cicero,
Right.
was based on your census, averaging 2.4 people per household, broke it down to a per household understanding, and that we know, and so we estimate that we don't have the exact, because you are with a private hauler.
Yes.
We don't know exactly how many tons of recycling from Cicero come. So we're anticipating, and we estimate it's about 2,766 tons of recyclables that are delivered. And so that's where that number comes from. And you have a contract with your hauler, and those costs will likely be passed on to you. Is your legal counsel here? I don't know who.
Yes.
But Gaskin is now representing Okra as our general counsel. And so if there's any issues that you have with your contract that Okra can assist in with your hauler, we're happy to continue to have that dialogue. We've been in communication with all the municipalities, from the town supervisors, the village mayors, and the county executive, as well as each of the haulers along this way. So we understand there might be some contractual issues, but most contracts, every contract is a little different. Most contracts have provisions that allow when Okra increases the rates for the haulers to pass that on through our contract with.
Thank you, Sarah. We have had a conversation with our hauler. Also, the MSW, is that rate going to go up? It's not, is it? Is it?
Yes. So MSW will go up $5. It follows the historic trend. We've been increasing it and then holding it flat and then increasing it and holding it flat. The biggest issue here is that electricity no longer provides a revenue offset for the waste to energy facility. We, at least where it was. When I was on the board back in the early 2000s, we had a 6-cent guarantee. We had $20 million in the bank. That's not the state of today. And actually in April, we saw electricity prices dip below 1 penny per kilowatt.
Wow.
So at the same time, so the only revenue is the MSW tip fee. So we are hopeful that that, so we are willing to kind of hedge our bets and hold this thing for 2 years because we're making a pretty significant change to the system.
One last question.
Mhm.
The biggest confusion that seems to be with residents in at least Cicero is they really have no idea about sorting their recyclables, because it appears that paper and tin cans seem to be the where some money can be had.
Mhm.
All of the other plastics and glass have no use. Can we clarify that for them?
Yeah, Okra has a lot of public education materials. I'm happy to, we have magnets, brochures, lots of other materials. So if there's any mailings that the town is mailing out to residents and you want to add this to it or any of our information, I'm happy to do that. Kristen Lawton is our public education officer. We also have a very strong following on social media. We have 10,000 followers on Facebook, for example. I mean, we're a trash agency. And so we're pretty engaged. And one of the things about recycling that's very important is it's all about the shape. So if it's a jug with a handle, if it's a can, if it's paper, those things are recyclable. The biggest issues we have with contamination are people putting things inside plastic bags, trash, and those berry boxes, we call them clam shells, that acts like paper in the sorting process.
All right, probably then the best bet for us would be to link your website to our website.
Yeah,
Great.
definitely.
Thank you, Sarah, so much.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just for the record, it's Dareth. Thank you. It's a strange
Sarah?
name. Dareth.
D-E-R-E-T-H.
There you go. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, other board members, questions?
Okay.
Not at this time.
Okay, so we're
Much.
We're going to have a increase from the basic trash fee and the, I'm going to call it the blue bin fee. So it's not the proper term, but I think people will understand because, you know, it's negative now. The blue bin is now negative.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very negative.
Okay, so
Excellent.
sometime around October 16th, hopefully your board will finally make these numbers solid, right, Darren?
Yes, yes. And then the process after that is then we reach out and have communications directly with every hauler, and they sign that contract for this system as one of our member municipalities. You're in that system, and then they need to sign the contract to continue to serve you.
Okay,
So,
thank you very much. Appreciate you coming by.
no problem. I really appreciate it. And feel free to contact me, Andrew, or anybody else at Okra if you need anything, okay?
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll sign off then. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item, number 5, the appointment information aid and recreation department in the department. And we have our new park director here. So if you have any questions on that item, Judy, you have number 5.
Appointment information aid in Parks and Recreation Department. Whereas the Parks Office needs to fill an administrative position, and whereas to maximize efficiency and productivity, the town board feels information aid is the most appropriate title for this position. Now therefore be it resolved, the Cicero Town Board appoints Danielle Hozak as an information aide at $17 an hour, effective October 5th, 2020.
Second.
Second, Counselor
Second,
Bicallo.
Mr. McCullough. Discussion.
Lisa, would you reiterate what happened so they'll understand?
Yeah, can you guys understand me? You're breaking up, but I just want to make sure you can hear me clearly.
You're good here. We see you very clearly. We hear you. So go
Somewhat.
to it.
You were breaking up a little bit.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to give you a little history. We've kind of gone through the lengthy process of dealing with the county list. We've canvassed it and exhausted it. Unfortunately, it's pretty much outdated. We only got one viable candidate to interview, and so the list is basically considered exhausted or null and void. So we were going to then try to advertise the position. The title information aid is great. It gives us some leniency on not having to be competitive when we go off the county list. Some other municipalities are using this position. But anyway, Danielle will be a great fit. We're hoping to, start her October 5th. She's familiar with some of the operations in our office. We think that she'll be a good fit. And I'm here for any questions if you have them for me.
Questions from the board?
No.
Hearing none, call the roll.
Counselor Boyd,
Here, yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Myers.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. Nancy, number 6.
Thank you.
Adopting an Excellus Group Medicare Advantage Retiree Health Insurance Plan. Whereas the town of Cicero wishes to establish a group Medicare Advantage health insurance plan for retired town of Cicero employees. Now therefore be it resolved, the Cicero Town Board adopts an Excellus Group Medicare Advantage Retiree Health Insurance Plan for retired town of Cicero employees and their qualified dependents who are at least 65 or older, effective October 1st, 2020. Said group Medicare Advantage plan shall be the primary retiree/qualified dependent health insurance offering.
Your second,
Second.
Mr. Carp. Discussion on this item? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyd,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Myers.
Yes, item is adopted. Number 7, Jonathan.
Whereas the town of Cicero identified a need for additional professional services for information technology, including planning, oversight, support, and other related services. And whereas WAF MCS has submitted a proposal and proposed contract for technology and consulting services calling for payment in the amount of $4,400 per month. And a copy of the proposed contract has been circulated to the board members and it is acceptable in scope and form. It is hereby resolved that the proposed agreement between the town of Cicero and WAF MCS is hereby approved, subject to attorney approval as to insurance submission. And the supervisor is authorized to execute the contract on behalf of the town of Cicero. Budget code A168047.
Second, Counselor Bicallo.
Discussion on the item? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyd,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Myers.
Yes, item is adopted. Number 8, emergency tree removal at 609 Aza Eastwood. Whereas the roots of multiple willow trees have infiltrated the underdrained stormwater pipe, compromising its integrity and obstructing drainage flow. And whereas trees are needed to be removed from 6309 Aza Eastwood to complete drainage work in the easement this season, now therefore be resolved, Cicero Town Board approves the emergency tree and stump removal cost of $6,000 at 6309 Aza Eastwood by Onsite Development LLC using Onondaga County Contract 0010093, budget code SD 54040400.
Second, Counselor Bicallo.
If there's any questions, Steve's here. I'm sure he can get in there. Basically, this was those Friday afternoon deals that had to be approved right away to get the work done so we could then do the proper drainage work. So further questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyd,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Myers.
Yes. Item is adopted. Number 9, Michael.
Highway garage parking lot paving. Whereas the highway department is in need of a top coat for the parking lot and driveway at the new garage. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board approves the paving budgeted item using the county contract number 0010306 for material and paver/operator in the amount of $130,000 from the amount code A1620403.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Ms. White? Okay, I'm going to deviate from the normal practice. I did get one item for some public input, so with the board's concurrence, I'll read it in.
No objection.
From a Joyce Villeneuve, and the question is, was the $130,000 for the top coat of the parking lot of the Cicero Highway Garage in the original budget? Notice the money is being budgeted from the fund and the highway garage budget. Frankly, I wasn't here when going back to the original days and budget of the highway garage, but I just want to make sure that I read that into the consideration for this item. Further discussion on number 9.
Does Chris know whether or not it was an original budget?
Yes, it was.
Thank you, Chris.
Further discussion on number 9. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Myers.
Yes, item is adopted. Mike?
Thank you.
Additional highway paving. Whereas the highway department is in need of additional asphalt for the paving of 3 more roads. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board approves the amount of $39,000 from Barrett Paving from account code DB 511255 for additional asphalt.
Second.
Ms. Boyke. Discussion on number 10.
Mr. Wozniak, it says 3 more roads. Are these additional roads that were not on the list, or is it?
Yeah, they weren't on the list. It'll be Sandra, Doreen, and Luann, the little loop there by Sparrows.
Oh, okay, thank you.
They're in very bad shape.
Yeah, they are. I agree.
Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo,
Aye. An awesome job by the highway department paving this year. Just make sure I said that again.
Supervisor
Thank you.
Myers.
Yes, item is adopted. Number 11, spoils and scrap material policy. This has been kicking around for a while. I'd like to thank Mr. Robert Germain for his persistence on this. He had to go through a few reviews, so thank you very much. One of the items that's important, that's included in the item that Robert drew up, is the resident and all the residents need to comply with all the normal rules as far as following this policy and all the other zoning rules. So if residents do have fill they would like to have at their property, please call Mr. Procopio and Mr. to make sure that they're following all the normal protocols. So whereas the town of Cicero identifies the need to adopt a comprehensive soils and scrap metal policy, and whereas the supervisor, town board, and highway superintendent have been provided with a copy of the proposed policy, it's hereby resolved the proposed town of Cicero spoils and scrap material policy is hereby approved.
Second, Counselor Bicallo.
Mr. Bacala. Discussion number 11.
I just wanted to clarify, because it was a question, when you say following normal protocol, that is if any of the fill delivered is more than 10 cubic yards, that it has to go through the codes department, mainly because of the filling and the elevation and not flooding out any of the adjacent properties to yours. So that,
you.
I believe, is what you meant about following protocol.
Thank you. Thank you. I totally agree with that, Judy. Also, I'm happy to verify that the highway superintendent also suggests that if people are interested in these types of products, that they come by the highway garage to look at it first, make sure that they understand what they're getting, and to, we don't want any surprises, right, Chris?
Right.
Right. Okay. So that being said, clerk, call.
Supervisor, I
Yeah.
did have one statement.
Okay.
There's
Thank you.
in the proposal, and I
Yes.
apologize, in the proposal, it does state that there is like a sign-up sheet with the clerk and with the highway superintendent. I just think it would be nice if we put on that form, and I talked to Councilor Cup about this, and then Robert Jermaine, our attorney, I think it'd be nice if we just reminded people on that document to make sure you're following, town code.
Yeah,
Thank
that's section 120-4, specifically subsection A. It would be nice if that form had a warning, reminding people of that requirement if they're going to put all, if they get more than 10 yards and it's all going to go on one parcel, they do need a permit.
I concur. Working with Mr. Jermaine, we'll come up with a draft and send it out so that the zoning folks and the highway superintendent find it workable as well as us. So appreciate your comments. Clerk will call the roll on number 11.
Counselor Boyke,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer,
Yes. Item is adopted. Mike, number 12.
Oh, the long one. All right.
Yep. You've been waiting all evening for this, Mike, so go for it.
Robert, before I go any further, where it says number 1 and it says that, I will be reading, Supervisor Meyer, correct? On the blank line? All right, perfect. All right, let's go. Resolution supporting participation in the CNY Stormwater Coalition Staff Services and Education Compliance Assistance Program. Resolution authorizing the items listed below pursuant to requirements of the New York State Pollutant Discharge Elimination System Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System General Permit. Whereas the town of Cicero, therein called the municipality, through consideration of various aspects of the problem and consideration of available information, has hereby determined that certain work as described in attachment A, herein called the project, is desirable, is in public interest, and is required in order to implement the project. And whereas the Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board, herein called the board, has provided program planning and implementation assistance pertaining to the requirements in the New York State Pollutant Discharge Elimination System (SPEEDIES) Stormwater Phase 2 General Permit for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, MS4, operation since 2002. And whereas the board has proposed staff and education assistance services in support of sustaining the CNY Stormwater Coalition and to provide a regional public education outreach and training compliance program to reduce municipal staff burdens, ensure consistency, provide widespread priority audience targeting the most efficient use of limited municipal funds by distributing total program costs over a number of entities within the 12-month timeframe as outlined in attachment B. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Board of Cicero, New York, that Supervisor Bill Meyer or such person's successor in office is the representative authorized to act on behalf of the municipality's governing body in all matters related to the project. 2, that the municipality agrees that it will fund its portion of the program cost in the amount of $3,600 and that those funds will be made available to the board upon receipt of the invoice, budget code -SD 85404 0400. 3, that one certified copy of the resolution will be prepared and sent to the board upon adoption. 4, this resolution takes effect immediately.
Just for the point of clarity, Mike, on number 1, where my name is submitted, I'm going to put it down William, just for.
Oh, yes, 1, I will amend that
I
William,
will-
Supervisor William Meyer. I
Right,
apologize.
Thank you very much. Need a second.
Second.
Mr. Carp, discussion?
Ever since I got on the board, I've always loved talking about the MS4. So,
Right.
yeah. So that's like
Okay,
one of those
thank you.
things that's always been a big time interest to me. So yeah, it's something that, we need to do in support of it. CNY Stormwater Coalition following the services proposed. Again, if it wasn't clear, staffing support services for meetings for the CNY Stormwater Coalition and executive committee and any working committees established by the executive committee, internal and external communications, financial administration, minimum control measures, the annual and semi-annual reporting, quarterly progress, and financial reporting. So in support of MS4 education and outreach requirements, the following services are proposed. So we need to do public education and outreach, staff support services, and direct municipal assistance. Let's keep.
Thank you. Discussion on number 12? Hearing none. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
Yes.
Counselor Carp,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Picallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Item is adopted. I do not have any further item for the public input section. Under discussion, I am going to be calling a special town board meeting for next week, September 30th, 6:30 here. And it'll be starting off the budget process for the 2021 budget process. So further items for discussion.
Yeah, we do have one more.
Septem-
Go ahead, Judy, sorry.
That's all right. I was just going to say, September 30th is a planning board meeting, I do believe.
Right, we can do 2 items. Thanks to Mr. Freeman, we have Zoom, so we have the capability.
Okay, thank you.
We did have one other piece of public input that was put out. It was again Joyce Villeneuve, just for the record. Good afternoon. It appears that emergency order has been extended once again to October 20th. So you're telling me school children go to school and everybody can go to work, but you can't find a place for a town board meeting. Have you checked the American Legion or Sacred Heart? How about new community room at the firehouse? Or better yet, you all have space in the very large town garage. Come on, it's time to face the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Further items?
Will on that note, will that meeting on the, what was that meeting? scheduled?
Next week, the 30th.
Next week, will that be a meeting, Zoom, or will that be a meeting, a public meeting?
It's a regular Zoom meeting. I'm looking at Mr. Freeman and he's indicating that's the protocol.
I feel like I've asked this like 5 times now. I feel like a parrot. Are we going to go to meetings in public anytime soon? You
I'm
can still
following the gu-
have the emergency, the state of emergency in place. Are we planning on going to meetings anytime soon?
I'm going by the guidance from the governor's office, the county executive and legal counsel. And based on those recommendations, I do not see a change in the immediate future.
I'd like to say something about that as well. With the budget coming up, I don't know how many of you have gone and tried to listen to the audio of these meetings, but it's very difficult. And with everything that's going on, I certainly hope that we can find a way to be able to have a public meeting in regards to our budget, because it's going to be critical. And I just feel that we can certainly accommodate. I know other town halls are having their meetings public. And I would certainly hope that we should certainly be able to find a way to social distance, especially in even the cafeteria, the highway garage. There's plenty of room, and obviously masks would be required. I just think that we need to seriously think about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so with respect to the guidance that you've received, Mr. Meyer, I guess I'd comment that other municipalities are meeting in person. The North Syracuse School Board is meeting in person. My understanding is there was an airport board meeting the other day that our county executive was at in person. So I don't understand why, if these other municipal bodies can meet in person, we cannot. We have facilities. We can probably see if the school district would let us use a facility, although the highway garage is more than big enough for ample social distancing. I don't understand why our guidance is that we can't meet in person, but all these other municipalities and government entities are able to meet in person. So I guess I'd like to see some clarification from our council on that. If there's a reason why the North Syracuse School Board can meet in person and we can't. This has worked great. I want to thank Mike Marizio from the North Syracuse School Board, who has worked with Wayne Freeman to have the Zoom thing set up. Mike's done a great job, and he and Wayne have made this so convenient and easy for us. It's worked great, but there's a reason why these meetings are supposed to be in person, and I think the public has a right to participate. Their ability to do so is curtailed by the way this is happening, and I really think that's something that we need to look into.
Okay, thank
I'd
you.
also like to add to that, the highway garage, obviously is our facility, therefore we can control cleaning it and cleaning it after, as opposed to using a public facility. And with the opportunity of having the multiple space, if couldn't be their cafeteria, then it could certainly be in the mechanics bay. The facility is huge. I think that we should take a strong interest in setting that up. Thank you.
Okay,
How
thank you.
cool
Further
would it be
items?
to have a meeting with our town highway trucks in the background, right? It's just a huge disservice to the public continuing to have these meetings on Zoom. I'm going to say it again. We can still have the executive order for the state of emergency still on while the town board finding ways to have meetings. These budget workshops that we have coming up, these should be in person. I would love to hear from the public. It's easier to hear from them in person. Having them being forced to send emails, and it's just I view it as it's not right. We're elected of the people. We should be working for the people.
Certainly being in person for the budget workshops lends itself to better collaboration. I mean, I understand, Counselor White, this is her first year on the board, so she hasn't experienced that, and maybe she won't this year, but really the in-person budget workshops are, it really, the discussion and everything is it flows so much more freely if it's in person. I just think it's something we really need to start planning for and trying to make happen. Also,
thank you.
while we're on the subject, Mr. Meyer, and I'm sure you feel like you've heard enough from us on this. I'd like to ask one other thing. Do we know when we'll see a draft of the preliminary budget, since we are having a budget workshop or budget meeting next week?
The comptroller is working on it. We're literally getting the numbers daily, as you can imagine, just like we heard from Okra. I mean, they're literally daily coming up with numbers. That's why we're hoping to get that together. I'm hoping we'll get a number very soon on the brush contract. That's going to be one more puzzle piece to put together. This is one of those years, all the board members, I'm sure, can understand the pieces are from one end of the budget to another, aberrations. So we had another new directive come in from the governor. Not only the police reform item, but now he is demanding a new item for planning. And of course, there's no money, but he wants us to have a COVID type plan put together. And again, no money to go with it. So literally, as days go by, we're getting more and more demands, and that's changing the budget basically every day. So that's where we're at.
Bill, could you share those demands with us so that we know what we are being confronted with, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
I got a call today from the governor's office asking about the police reform item. And again, it seems like we're ahead of the curve, and that she didn't know that we've had two announcements of board meetings, and that the chief's involved with the DA's office. So I kind of got the impression that we're ahead of the curve compared to other municipalities. So that's a good thing.
Right.
Do you think you could drop me an email when things like that come in so we can kind of be on the same page? Because I wasn't aware that you received anything from the governor's office, because.
I did. It was a phone call I got. Yes.
Okay, well, this is pretty important, and we need to be on the same page on this topic.
Right. Right. That's
So
good.
Bill, that's the only thing though? It had nothing to do with anything else, just the police department right now?
No, it was the COVID item and the police department item. I just mentioned those.
Right. The
And
COVID
the-
item though is what?
They're
That
looking
we're-
for a plan, but they're not not putting any teeth into what the COVID or whatever plan we're supposed to put around. So again, it's an item that is, I'm going to call undefined. In fact, I've been told that now there's even legislation to change it, even after it's not even here yet. So when I'm saying it's changing daily, it's changing daily.
Right. So I think, mask, social distancing, and proper cleaning, following capacity, that's everything else, that's what everyone is following, I believe, unless there's something more that we're supposed to be doing.
Well, that's part of what we're trying to figure out, Mrs. Becky. Further items?
Nope.
Okay, move to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. See you next week. Thank you, folks.